heading up to Dolores. I want to pick up the new work truck. Really excited about it. Got the FJ on the trailer behind us. Hoping to use that winch to get this thing up on the trailer in a few minutes. We'll get there and you'll see why. Okay, I'm standing next to my newest purchase, 1981 Chevy K20. Bought this truck for the business. It's a four-wheel drive, heavy duty. Got a toolbox on the bed. That's going to help out quite a bit. And honestly, most of the purchase price was that box. Luckily, the truck came with it. I was told the motor's locked up, but there's the oil looks okay. There's coolant in it. Spun a little bit by hand, but we drug it here the other night and it's been sitting ever since. We'll go into the history in a few minutes, but we'll get you in here. This truck has actually a really interesting history. It was it's an 81. It was an Arizona truck. It was purchased in 89 by a local ranch, which with the amount of sheep hair and oil stuck to the bottom, I'm guessing is a sheep ranch. Would that be wool? Wool. Good. They bought it in 89, probably lived its whole life in 4 low on the ranch, bouncing off of rocks. It was parked in 06. The date code on the tires and the registration both confirm that. It's a Chevy 350 under the hood and a turbo 400 transmission. This truck is a custom deluxe, which means no options at all. No air conditioning, rubber floors, manual windows. It's got a metal headliner, but luckily the cab is actually pretty rust-free. There's a couple holes that we'll fix later with license plates for a welder, but all the glass is all good. Got a really neat spotlight here, which looks nearly brand new. So, well, it looks brand new, but that's probably a flea market find. I don't know. Let's take a look inside. This will be the first time I'm actually going through the truck as well. Very heavy rodent damage. There have been some serious rodents living in this truck since nearly the Backstreet Boys. Got a standard Chevy bench seat. We got just a lot of junk here. Starter fluid. It did live on a farm. We'll probably use this quite a bit. Burned out wiring. We'll fix that later. I'm going to come in a little bit closer. This rocker, surprisingly solid. It's getting into the first stages here, but I think we can actually catch this and turn this rust around. There's a couple of holes. Most of this is from the rodents, from the rodents that are, I'm assuming, lived inside the dash because they also lived under the hood and under the seat, inside the seat, probably the ceiling. Help get the smell out of here. Okay. Now, this truck did come with the service bed, which is what caught my attention originally. We've got factory hubcap in the front, original license plate from Arizona, presumably from 1989. So we'll keep that and probably put that in the garage. Looks like quite a bit of junk. Nothing really worth anything in here, but we'll have to clean it out later. Seals are all shot. The locks are shot. Like I said, true farm truck. Well, that'll be a flat tire later. Alright, moving on. The only toolbox here that really has any rust damage is this box where it collected up behind the wheel well. So I'm probably going to patch that up and weld this later when we do new seals and doors. And there's actually a sizable hornet nest in here that unfortunately I lost when we towed it home. Might find more later. Show here. The last registration from April of 06. So probably the last time it was on the road. It may have spent a couple more years on the ranch bouncing around, but that's it. Tailgate latches broken, just like all the other latches. Solid bed, no rust at all on the base of the bed, so that's a really good thing. This door had not been able to get open yet. A lot more screws and nails, staples, nothing of any value to me. Okay. I don't know if you want to stand over. Let's just look at this side. This is a pretty side anyway. The door's been dented, center's dented a little bit. Picking up stations from another one here. That's custom. Okay. Let's move under the hood and see if we can get this motor turning over and see if we can get it started. Okay, I have a run-of-the-mill Chevy 350 in here, air injection, quadra-jet carb on top. As I said earlier, lots of rodents. In fact, something big had to live in here to move these chunks of wood in with it. Luckily, the air filter was not on for the last decade, so there's a lot of rodent poop and pine cone trash and pine needles in the carburetor. We're going to have to vacuum out of here. And we're going to pull the plugs. Let's stick a borescope down in each cylinder and see what it looks like before we try to turn it over with a wrench, because if there's crap in the cylinders, I don't want to score the walls turning it over. So if it looks okay, we'll squirt some oil in the cylinders, put new spark plugs in, put some wires on the plugs, put the battery in it, and then maybe start a fire. Spent the last 20 minutes digging out every extension cord I could find so the Christmas tree has no more lights, but the vacuum's working now. So I'm going to clean out as much as I can out of the engine here. We got all these pine cones out, clean up the carbs some, and then we'll move on to ignition. I think that's most of the big chunks. Oh, no, no, there's more. Golly. The longer I look, the more I find. Okay. Well, that's about as good as it's going to get today. The vacuum, surprisingly, does not look much better. But next we'll move on to pulling the spark plugs. We'll get a camera down on these cylinders We'll see what it looks like before we waste the rest of the day putting new plug wires on. May have gotten a little ahead of ourselves again. We're gonna pull spark plugs right now. Okay, warmed up to about 40 here. The snow's kind of stopped. So get this jacket off. All right, let's pull some plugs. There's more of that hair, that ranch hair I was talking about. The entire bottom side of this truck is just grease, oil, and hair. AC Delco. A little fouled, but otherwise fine. No rust, that's the important thing. As long as there wasn't any water in the cylinders and nothing's mechanically broken in the engine, I think we have a pretty good chance of getting it running today. Or it threw a rod in 06 and I just didn't find the hole yet. That plug actually looks fantastic. Alright. Oh yeah. Oh! Okay. Of course, the only tire that won't hold air is this front right, and it's buried in the snow. So I verified that this is a 350 small block, not a 400, which I kind of expected it to be a 400. 400s are externally balanced, so you can tell by the harmonic balancers, among a few other ways. That one looks okay, but it is a 350 for sure, which would be good for me. I tend to break everything I touch, mostly axles, so I don't necessarily need a bigger engine. Here at 7,300 feet in elevation, though, you lose quite a bit of power just with the thin air. Again, nothing wrong with them, so they're just old. Switch to the other side. I'll be really excited if we can get this running today. That'll save a ton of money on a new engine. Good. None of the plugs are taken out yet or missing, so that's a really good sign also. Who knows why it was parked? Maybe a bad fuel pump. Maybe the mice just chewed into too many wires. Another good plug. I know for a fact that the front left leaf spring U-bolts are loose, which is making it the axle's shifting back and forth with the steering wheel. Maybe that's why I came off the road. Another good one. Okay, one left. Cross our fingers. We're still good. Okay, so we have, well, let me show you the oil. So the oil is black. It's a little thin, but there's no moisture in it. So I'm hopeful, if nothing is mechanically broken, major issues, we'll get it running today. Oh, while we're in here, look at this transmission fluid. It looks brand new, so we'll just assume that the transmission works. Let's get the camera and shove it down the cylinders, see what we find. Now, I'm going to stick the camera down each cylinder and try to get a little picture-in-picture for you. Let's start on my side. We're here. Okay. Good. See if I can find the hole. Okay, it's pretty dark. Maybe turn the light on. There we go. I'm not able to see much here.
Zoom in here.
I can't tell what I'm looking at, but oh, that's the cylinder wall. Does not look fantastic. Let's try the next one. Same thing. Looks like maybe a little bit of dirt built up in there. Some sort of corrosion. It's the top of the piston. This is not yielding the results I was hoping for. So we'll just spray some oil on the cylinders, grab a wrench, try to turn it over. We just spray some seafoam down the cylinders. Luckily I have a full one because I forgot to buy some yesterday. Once we get all this in the cylinders, then we'll try to go ahead and strip the crank bolt off with the breaker bar and then resort to just jumping the starter. We'll get about 3/4 of this in the cylinders, and then the rest will just go on the exhaust manifold and smoke later. Okay. Oh, I can't see the last one. We're going to be, I'm going to try to start this on some 2-stroke fuel. Try to get some more lubrication into the top end. Oh. Okay, those are good. Oh, this side's easier to get into. What is that? Oh. What? Oh, okay. That's a huge nail blocking a vacuum port. I'm sure that won't cause any trouble later.
Oh, hold on.
But
it didn't adjust to the light.
Alright. And it's in. And in. One more to go. Oh, I missed. Bad. That sounds like it went in. Okay. Okay. I'm going to grab a wrench and crawl in the snow a little bit. That way I'm wet all day. Grab sockets. First time using standards in a while. Most of the junk I work on is metric. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I can. Oh. Yep, that's it. Okay. Now, most exciting part, if we can get this thing turned over, we're doing pretty good. So, I'm going to put the jacket back on, slide underneath.
Does that mean I also have to go underneath? No. Okay.
You're going to watch from right there. See this pulley in the middle?
Yep.
I'm going to be turning that with the wrench. What we're looking for is be able to turn the crank 180 degrees all the way around. That'll tell us at least that there's no mechanical breakage. Also be able to hear if anything pings or cracks in the valve train, and then we know we can just go ahead and stop, and I can get my money back for that battery. Pull the motor out and throw it in the garbage. Okay, here we go. Too long. God. Let me find another one. What's this one? There. This might do it. Third time's the charm. Okay, here we go. Ooh, it's spinning. It's actually smooth. Oh yeah. So it's spun all the way around. I don't hear any knocking. Ow, I don't hear any knocking or banging or really anything. It actually turned over really smooth. So now we're going to put new spark plugs in it. We're going to put new wires on it. This is a HEI, so it should just work. Then we'll get a battery in here. Then we'll spend 30 minutes fixing the wiring, and we'll listen to it start up. Okay, I got a little ahead of myself. The motor does spin over, but since I just filled the cylinders with seafoam, we're going to have to hook the battery up and try to spin this thing over and push some of that oil out of the cylinders so we don't foul the new spark plugs. So now we're going to work on getting the battery in here and see if we can get it to spin over. The key's probably not going to work because it's stuck in the ignition, but we'll hook up a trigger on the starter. Hopefully the starter works. Well, the glove fell out of my pocket, so I'm going to put it with my extras, and then later I'll wonder why there's 3 and not 2. Brand new battery. Hopefully it's got enough in it. Okay. Now, originally this truck would have come with side post batteries. They're terrible. Somebody on the farm has already converted this to top post, luckily for us. So we'll go ahead and hook this up. That's the ground. Now, okay, positive is on. We use this hammer disguised as a breaker bar. Okay. I'm just gonna go turn the key. See what happens. Probably nothing. Hook up the trigger. Stay right there. We're looking for audio here. Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, the starter works. Doesn't sound great. Hopefully we got any oil out of the cylinders that I sprayed in there earlier. Okay, now on the new plugs. Can you bring it? Am I centered?
Yeah, well,
perfect.
Pretty close.
Okay. Anyway, so I got new spark plugs. I wish I had AC Delcos to put in here. I always go with the factory stuff. All I could get yesterday was auto light, so we'll make it work. Now, you got the factory emission sticker here. Shows spark plug gap. Well, 45 thousandths. Okay. I always gap new spark plugs, or check them at least, because sometimes the boxes fall off the shelf in the store. And if it falls on the end, it can crush the ground strap down. And then if you don't check it, you're putting a spark plug in your motor that's not going to work right. But one thing to remember on newer cars is the platinum, iridium tip stuff. You don't want to just slap one of these in there and start adjusting it, because those tips are super brittle and you will destroy the electrode. And those things are $10 to $15 a piece. So those we usually have a cardboard tube around them to protect the tip, and they're set from the manufacturer. But these are just cheap copper plugs, so we're going to check them for 45 thousandths, and then we'll get them in. So, okay. See, I just pulled this one out. There's no protective sleeve on the spark plug, so if it was dropped, it would smash that in and change the gap. So we'll check. We're good at 45 thousandths there. I'm going to go through and check all the gap on all of these, and we'll get them in the engine. Another thing to remember is never use anti-seize on the threads of these. Back in the day, people started doing that so the spark plugs don't get seized into the head. But most, if not all, modern spark plug manufacturers are going to have a zinc coating or something on the threads. It's already built into them. You don't need to put that on there. The risk you have there is if you put anti-seize on the threads, it's really easy to over torque them, and if you strip the threads out of the head, it's a lot more episodes. Okay. Next, I'll throw the boxes and not the new spot. Okay. Let's just clean that up in a minute. Awesome. Yep. Oh. You know. We'll get the snow out of the spark plug, and then we'll gap it. Good. Okay. Okay. It's like Cookie Monster, open these things. Throw the box, keep the plug. Throw the box, keep the plug. Okay. This is probably the start of the time lapse. Close enough. Boom. 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 Good. Perfect. This is exactly what I was hoping would happen. This one is gapped too tight. So whether I did it or somebody else did it in shipping, you gotta open it up just a little bit. So, grab this little guy here. Open it up, probably too much, and we'll squeeze it back down and back and forth for about 17 times, and it'll be set. Yeah. Good. Okay. Good. 8 new spark plugs, gap is set, 45 thousandths. Okay, I'm gonna hop in and get these in. The important thing is to always set your tools down 30 feet away, and just waste half the day looking for things. Okay, now out here on something as fancy as this truck, you don't use a torque wrench on the spark plugs, but a good way to make sure you never strip them out is never put your hand on the wrench way out here. What I like to do is I like to snug them up with my hand on the wrench like this, so you have to be pretty strong to strip it out that way. So it's always worked for me. I've never stripped out a spark plug. Get it. It'll probably be the first time I strip one. How neat will this be if I get this thing running with this engine and drive it to the ranch that had it all those years?
That would be cool.
I bet someone over there remembers this truck. We can get some stories about it. Maybe on camera.
Yeah, maybe.
So you get a little bit better in-depth story. Maybe find out what happened to that pristine door on the passenger side. Okay, let me get on this side. Or maybe they could explain why both fuel tanks are crushed in. That's another episode on its own. Okay. Nope. Yep. No. Okay. Nope. Just. So this engine has the air injection. So there's a belt-driven air pump on the front of the motor that sends fresh air into these exhaust manifolds to help burn off whatever exhaust incomplete combustion for emissions. It's garbage. So if we can get this motor running, we're still going to have to pull these manifolds out. Probably going to pull the carb and rebuild it. We're going to do away with that air pump, put some headers on here, and maybe a new carb, because I'm not a carb wizard. And the Quadrajet is pretty complicated. So I may just go in a box on the shelf, go with a Edelbrock, maybe a Holly Sniper, you know, depending on the credit limit that week on my credit card. Okay. Tight. 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 And tight. Okay, all of these spark plugs. Next, we'll get some wires in here, and then we'll test for spark. And then we'll unhook the fuel line coming into the fuel pump. In the unlikely event that the fuel pump actually works, we don't want to pull all that nasty trash from whatever fuel tank it's going to work on. So probably cut that line. Yep. And keep going. Okay. Now, unfortunately for me, there's no spark plug wires left on the engine to reference where they went and how they were routed because the rats chewed them off. So, I need to start from scratch. The way I've always done this, you find the longest one, and that's going to be your cylinder 1 because it's the furthest from the distributor. And then we just use deductive reasoning from there, going to the next longest and the next longest, and moving our way closer to the distributor. I'll get these all hooked up, probably backwards or wrong, and then we'll shoot fire out of the carburetor, start over, and then we'll maybe get started. Cylinder 1. Yep. This is the fun part where I get to remember. Admittedly, I'm not a Chevy guy. I've always had Fords, but this is where I got confused one time back in probably around the last time this truck ran. Ford numbers their cylinders differently than Chevrolet. So I'm going to pull up the firing order and make sure I have it right. Probably going to write it on the inside of the hood here. And I might get it right the first try. In case you're wondering, cylinder numbers are marked on the intake manifold. I don't know if you can see that. It says in yellow marker here, -40, 10/23/83. So somebody tested the coolant to -40, marked this 1983. May have been the Chevy dealership, with it being 2 years old at that time. Also something very interesting, if you can zoom in here. Okay. It's already caught my attention because it's made in USA, and you don't see much of that anymore. But down here, there's a manufacturer's date on this upper radiator hose. January 23rd, 1992. So 1992 on this radiator hose, and I would be willing to bet money the other hose is the same year. Okay, I was gonna okay.
Any of that.
So put it on me, right here.
Well, okay.
Put it on my face.
You wanted me to put it on the engine, so I did.
Yeah. Okay. So typically, when I'm starting this, because there were no wires on the distributor to begin with, I don't know where it was. So normally what I do is find top dead center on cylinder 1. Top dead center is when the piston's all the way at the top of its travel on the cylinder right before it starts coming back down. The trick is there's 2 top dead centers, and one of them is right and one isn't, and I got to pull the spark plug out that I just put in. So I'm going to not do that, and I'm going to assume that the distributor's in the right place and just start wiring it up. Starting with cylinder 1. And then now that we have our firing order written on the hood permanently, forever. Okay, longest one is there. Gosh. Come on. Okay. Both ends are the same on this one. That's probably it. There. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the spot. This is way too long. So, great. Just drop it there. Put it there. Click. It's in. Click. That's in. We'll just loop it out of the way of everything for a minute. Next cylinder is 8. All distributors are always going to spin clockwise. So we're on cylinder 8 now. That's going to be the second to shortest one. Well, there's a big difference between the shortest one and the second. Oh well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we missing? There it is. There's 8. Oh yeah, that's the one. Okay. Next. What in the... Why? Great. Well, 2 of these wires don't match the others, but that's fine. That'll work. Down here. Don't lay it on the header. Okay. There. 4. Cylinder 4 is going to be second on the passenger side. So we'll go with the second from the longest. Multiple choices on that one. Okay, there. The right thing to do would have been to pull this distributor cap off to make sure it's good inside. But again, we'll just do that later if it doesn't start. 3, back on that side. I'm going to go to the second to the longest again. Probably this one, maybe. Try this one. I mean, they're all too long, so it really doesn't matter which one goes where. Okay. I think I got a return box here. These plug wires don't all match each other. Okay, that's in. 6, back on the other side. Let's see, cylinder 2 is going to be the longest one. That's here. Set that aside. So now I have 2 long ones and 1 really short one. So we'll go cylinder 7 on the short one. Set that aside. Six. Yep, 6. In case you're wondering, there really is no good way to look like a pro when you're trying to figure out where spark plug wires go. Everybody's confused. So this truck doesn't have a separate coil wire because it's a Chevy HEI. The coil's right here mounted on top of the distributor cap. So other applications you might have 8 spark plug wires and you'll have a coil wire that goes from the center of the distributor cap to the top of the coil. Alright, now all the spark plugs in. All the wires are in. It's time to check for spark. The way we're going to do that, we're going to hook the spark tester in line with one of the spark plugs. I'm going to go with cylinder 1 because it's easiest to reach. So this end will hook onto the spark plug, and then the spark plug wire will hook onto this end. And as I crank the motor over, this light should flash. Probably won't show up on camera, but that'll let us know if we've got spark or not. And the next thing we're going to go for, we'll disconnect that fuel pump and pour some weed eater gas down the carb and see if it'll start. Well, I was planning on hooking up the remote so that I could unplug the battery real quick in case the starter sticks, but I don't want to lay in the snow anymore, so just jump in the truck and spin it over, and you guys watch for spark. Okay. Always make sure it's in park before you starting on it, so you don't drive it through the wall into your wife's car. Here we go. Nope. I'm going to plug the battery in now. Then we'll start. Yeah, there. Okay. Perfect. Where's my hammer? Here it is. Make sure those are nice and tight when I have to get them off in a hurry. Okay. Spin it over. Look for spark. Nothing.
Hey!
Sparking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the ignition's locked up, so let me unplug the battery. So this is great news. Hand it over to me.
I'm working on it.
Please. Please. And there's another.
Even you two mechanics have to be nice to their wife.
Okay. Okay. So this is really good news. We know we have oil without water in the pan. We've got coolant. We have spark. It sounded like we've got compression, almost like it wanted to fire for a second. Since cylinder 1 is firing, with this ignition, it should be plenty reliable. We should be firing on all 8 now. So the next step, I'm going to get the spark plug tester out of there. I'm going to unhook the fuel pump like I talked about earlier, so we're not drawing any bad fuel from these nasty tanks from '06. Then I think we're going to start it up. Maybe it'll idle.
Maybe it won't.
Air pump's going to have to come out because the fuel pump is buried underneath it anyway. So is it snowing again? Did you see that? Okay. These fuel lines are really buried in here. That's no. You know what? We're going to put a new fuel pump in it anyway. I'm going to unhook it up here. I'm going to spray gas on top of the engine if the pump works. Also, we might need to get another glove. Back to even numbers in the bag. $11/16. 5/8. Okay, you need a bigger wrench. These carburetors have a on the inlet usually have a little metal sponge type of filter as a last dying effort to keep dirt out of the carburetor. That's spinning on me, so. Whoop. I'm gonna get an adjustable wrench. Just bought these. Ooh, she's really in there. Okay. I think what I'll do is try to find a water bottle, an empty water bottle. Put this hose into it in case the fuel pump does move fluid. You can catch it in the bottle. Then it'll fall over and pour gas down the side of the engine anyway. But trying is what matters. We are moments from hearing this thing start or throw a rod. Maybe I should set a pan underneath it. Nah, the snow will eat it. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to put something here to catch the fuel as it comes out a little bit. And all these loose vacuum hoses, I don't know, just find somewhere to plug them in so they're not a leak. Like here's a hole. I don't, maybe, is there, oh, there's another leak. There's going to be a lot of vacuum leaks. It won't idle smooth if it does start. Let's see if I can jam this. Okay. Then we're using True Fuel. It's fuel and oil for weed eaters. But like I said earlier, it provides a little bit of lubrication to the end. Okay. Yeah. Let's start it up. Nope, not there. Yeah, there. Put the battery on. Yeah, new hammer. Okay. Watch the bottle too. If fuel starts spraying into it, then we know we have a good fuel pump. Here we go.
Oh, yep.
It shot fuel through?
Yeah, it's not good though.
Yeah, that's why we unhooked it. Wow, that's a lot of fuel. Okay. Let me get a hose so that we can direct all that nasty fuel into a bucket or something underneath. Hope it fits. There's actually a bit of water in there. That's not good. But we'll get a hose on here and just direct it to the snow.
No, put a bucket under there.
I don't have a bucket.
Here.
Perfect. Okay. Set this here. Okay. It's just pour pour some more gas in it. Excuse me. Oh, okay. You ready?
Something's blowing up the top.
Did it pop out of the carburetor?
Yeah.
So we either have the timing wrong or the timing is too far advanced. Both are equally plausible. But did you hear fire?
Yeah.
You coughed a little bit? It's trying. Just like that. Alright, let me try to start it.
Wait, your vice grip fell off.
Okay. It sounds like I got the firing order wrong. So check that. Well, I said it in the beginning and I think I jinxed myself. I put the wires on backwards, meaning I put them in rotation the wrong way. Like I said, there is absolutely no way to look good doing this. Let me pull these spark plug wires off, get them back in the right order. Pretty sure this thing will fire. Okay. Everybody screws up sometimes. Now it's fun. Alright, here we go. There it is. You saw it. Little hiccup with the firing order. Again, everybody makes mistakes, and I've done that before, and I'll probably keep doing it. All that matters is we got it running now. Firing order's right. I don't hear any knocking. I don't hear any valve train noise even. All my gauges are dead, so I can't tell if I've got oil pressure, but judging by the sound, I think we've got enough for now. So, hey, that'll pretty much wrap it up for today.